Hello everyone! So do you guys like my new glasses? I feel like I look pretty nerdy fresh. I know a lot of you guys watch my videos because I make a lot of like school related videos, how to study, things like that, and I know I haven't made one of those in a long time, so I thought it was time for an update. In keeping with the tradition of filming in my car, I am in like the absolute back parking lot of where we can park for school so that no one will see me, because I feel like I'm going to be incredibly judged if I am seen filming in my car in some random parking lot. So this video is going to be focused specifically on the LSAT and how I prepared for it, but it's not just for that. This video can be watched by anyone who is preparing for a standardized test or any kind of big test like that, so like the SAT, the ACT, the MCAT, anything like that that's like a big test that has coming up. You can take a lot of these tips that I'm going to be giving you. And the reason why I'm filming this video is because I feel like a lot of times a lot of people go into taking these tests real blindly and they don't really understand what they're getting themselves into. And I really just want to give some pointers so that people don't quite feel like they're going in so blind. I personally took a LSAT bootcamp class a couple months ago that a lot of these tips come from, and it was an expensive class to take, and I feel like a lot of these things are tips that people should just go ahead and know, like, anyways, like they shouldn't have to pay. Like I remember paying like $400 to take that course, and a lot of these tips I really feel like I should not have had to pay that much. You guys are gonna get it for free. The first thing that you really should concentrate on when you're preparing for a big test like this is the format of the test. So you need to know exactly what you're dealing with. So for example, with the breakdown of the LSAT, there's gonna be 2 logical reasoning sections, 1 gaming section, and 1 reading comp section. Each of these sections are 35 minutes each. So no matter what test you're taking, you need to go ahead and find out what is going to be expected of you. What are you actually testing on? How much time do you have for it? And then, as if on cue, someone pulls right in and is going to be parking right beside me. What a jerk. And my window's down and they just like blew up everything. I hate everyone. So the next thing is you need to know the grading scale. What's the highest you can get on the exam? What's the lowest you can get on the exam? The highest that you can get on the LSAT is a 180 and the lowest is a 120. Average that most people are shooting for with scholarships is 150. There's 101 questions on the LSAT. 90% of people score less than 164 on the LSAT. So if you're really looking for some scholarship money, get accepted into at least a higher tier school, you really should be shooting for higher than a 164. If you get over a 171, everyone is looking at you. There is no genetic code for taking the LSAT, so if you're one of those people that you're looking for a formula, there is no formula. You just honestly just need to practice every day. So this goes into my next point. You need to study for this test. I remember when I was taking the SAT and ACT, I never really studied for it. No, you need to study for these things. And don't get me wrong, like I scored okay, but like LSAT, that's like a whole other ballpark for me. I studied for that. I studied a section every day, so I studied like a logical gaming section or something like that, and I took 1 full LSAT exam a week, and that's just something that you need to get in the habit of. Set up a specific time that you're going to sit down and study for the LSAT. That was one thing I had a problem with, is that I would be like, oh, I'm so busy, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and then finally I just had realized that I needed just to sit down. And so at so-and-so time, like at 1 o'clock every single day during the month of January or whenever it was, I sat down and I studied for the LSAT. That was it. Like if someone wanted to do something at 1 o'clock, I'd be like, no, like can we do it later? Do you mind? I really need to study for the LSAT. And most of the time people are going to be willing to work with you in your schedule. So in saying that, within like a week before taking the LSAT, you need to go recon your test center. It's like my military side coming out when I say this. And if you don't know what recon is, recon stands for reconnaissance. That's when you like go and pick up intelligence from another specific area. So when I say that, I mean like so I went to my test center because I had my ticket where it said my test center was. I went there, I looked at the floor plan. So even though I didn't know what classroom I was going to be in, I sat in several classrooms. It was 3 stories high, that building. I sat in several classrooms so I could get the feel of the environment and like the temperature and things like that. And then I looked at the floor plan and I found the 2 closest bathrooms on every floor, just in case one was like closed for cleanup or whatever, I would know where the other one is. You need to set up your baggie that you're going to take with you the night before. So for example, all these tests come with like rules that are in the back of your ticket or somewhere in there. There's rules somewhere of what you can and cannot have. So for example, for the LSAT, we were allowed to have 1 gallon Ziploc bag, see-through, that you could put things that you wanted in there. So you brought your number 2 pencils, no mechanical pencils, number 2 pencils. You're allowed to have a highlighter. I didn't bring one. I don't know, ain't nobody got time for that. Sports drinks or I brought Powerade. Any kind of those drinks are really good for standardized tests, things like that. My professor was telling me how, I don't know what it is, but there's something about them that's just better for you to drink, because usually I just drink water, but he was like, no, like, you need the energy, like, bring a sports drink, but no soda. Prepare for any kind of weather, bring a sweater, wear like I wore like a short sleeve t-shirt, but I brought a sweater with me in case the room was cold, because you want to be in a comfortable environment. The day of, you need to get to the test center at least an hour beforehand. You need to get to the test center an hour beforehand. Most people say 35 minutes. 35 minutes is not good enough. The reason why I say that, and I had to actually talk to a lawyer that I interned with about this, you have to prepare for traffic, you have to prepare for wrecks, you have to prepare for anything that could possibly get in the way, like losing gas on the way, like, I don't know, like something exploding. You need to be prepared. And if you're shooting to be at your test center an hour ahead in advance, if something happens, you will still most likely get there on time. Another tip that I thought was ingenious is this watch tip that my professor told me about. So, like I said, you have 35 minutes for each section of the test. Most of the time, people just look at their watch, they time out where 35 minutes is going to be, and they call it a day. That is not what he told me. He told me that all you need to do is pull out your pen, flip the time to noon, and as soon as the proctor says go, push the pin back in, and it's so easy to tell where the 35-minute marker is. I had a friend that came with me to take the LSAT, and he did not bring a watch because he was like, oh, I can just see the clock, and he could not see the clock. He was in the one chair in the whole room that you could not see the clock, so it was actually really unfortunate for him because he had no idea what time it was or how to pace himself. When you're studying for the LSAT, and I studied in places like the library and things like that, there was always like more commotion going around. When you're actually taking these tests, there's not going to be that much noise, and so you need to train your body to not hear a lot of things. So what I did was I always take earplugs. I just like dumped them all out into my bag. That's awesome. But I just use these. These are like the Sleep Pretty in pink. You can just get these at like Walmart or whatever. And I just put those in my ears every time I was studying for the LSAT, and then I would time myself. And what that does is like people see those in your ears and they leave you alone, and plus it's quieter, so you can actually get into that environmental mindset of studying for the LSAT. One thing that I didn't do that I wish I had done is I wish I had actually timed myself more when I was practicing for the LSAT. I have taken the LSAT. I took it 2 weeks ago. I'm going to take it another time. I'm taking it a little bit early. I'm a junior right now. Most people take it in their senior year, and the reason why is because with ROTC and things like that, I have to have my scores in early. So I'm gonna take it a second time, but and this is kind of like what I've learned, and that's kind of why I'm making this video, is because I know I just did this not too long ago. And one thing I wish I did more of is I wish I had timed myself more. I would sit down and do the 35-minute section, or I'd sit down and do the test, but I wouldn't time myself, so I didn't put myself under that like strained environment, and I wish I had done more of that. So if you're practicing for some kind of standardized test, put yourself in that environment where you're going to be strained with a time limit. One quick thing is, if you have 35 minutes for each section, in the LSAT at least, that leaves you for 1 minute and 10 seconds for each question. So what I did is, I'm not going to really get into all of the techniques that I did when practicing for the LSAT unless you guys want me to. But I do have my LSAT practice book here, and as you can tell, it is well used. This is the 10 new actual official LSAT prep tests with comparative reading. So for example, when I did a question, this is, oh, everything's like falling out. Oh, this is actually better because this is actually a printout, so I don't have to hold up the whole book. So what I would do is I would like print out all the pages from the book, and that way I could write on the pages of the handouts instead of actually writing in the book. That way I could keep retaking the test, because this book comes with 10 tests, and I mean, I'd do more than that. So anyways, when you are practicing, what I did was I would first read the actual question here, and then I would read the prompt. I would come up with my own answer, and then I would find my answer within the answer options. So that is the way that I tackled how to do an LSAT question. Like, there's tons of ways to do it, but that's just the way I personally did it. You know, make sure you get a good night's sleep the night before. I went to bed at like 9 o'clock, took like half a dose of NyQuil, enough that I could like knock out, because I knew I wouldn't fall asleep on my own, just because I would get really like nervous and excited, and I would not have gotten any sleep. Yeah, get a good night's sleep, eat a good breakfast in the morning. Me and my friend went and did this together, and we just like went to McDonald's and got some breakfast, but it's enough to stimulate you and you're awake. I hope this helps you for any kind of test you're preparing for. I do have more tips on how to actually attack. Do you like that word, attack? how to actually attack certain LSAT questions. Like there's different types of questions and things like that. And if you guys want to see a video on that, I can do that. This is in no way the only way to study for the LSAT. This is just my way that I study for the LSAT, and I just thought that maybe you guys would like some tips or anything like that. And thumbs up this video if you want to see more study videos, things like that, and leave in a comment below if you want to see more LSAT specific questions or what kind of videos specifically that you want to see. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you guys in another one. Bye!